What'd you do? I've been,
All right, we're ready, guys.
I got
Welcome to our
a stoplight now.
budget meeting for the month of August. Our wonderful finance director, our magic man, is going to come up. I think we got two issues. One in your packet, we've got mid-year budget summaries in your packet, and then of course we've got our monthly for June. So, Michael, I don't know which way.
We're going to go ahead and go over our monthly packet first, and then you'll have your mid-year budget. I'll show you that, hit a few highlights on it tonight, and then next time we meet, we'll go over any questions y'all have on it. Okay, so page 1 of your budget packet is our sales and use tax comparison year over year, month over month. So you'll see in June, our sales tax was $279,000, which was up $13,000, almost $14,000 over 2023. So that's a 5.22% increase. So for the year through June, we're up $54,306 over 2023 for an increase of 3.9%. We have had steady increases in our sales tax that we have received in July and August. Those numbers, July was up $22,000 over 23, and August was up $15,000 over 23. So currently, as it stands right now, we'll go over those numbers in different reports, but where we stand right now, we're up $91,000 in sales tax year over year for 24 versus 23. So we're up almost $100,000 over where we were at the same time last year at 2023. The next page, you'll see the chart. This just compares 22, 23, and 24. So we'll see that it's 24 is showing better than 23. Our next page is our sales and use tax distribution. Out of the sales tax that was collected by the merchants in April, it was remitted to the state in May, and we received it in June. The total amount distributed was $331,390.78. Of that, $205,000 went to our general fund, almost $49,000 went to streets, a little over $52,000 went to parks, $25,000 went into our bond payment reserve. Our next page, 441, that's going to be our sales tax collected breakdown. Just to kind of show you where it was at. Food and beverage collected $55,615. Lodging was $74,000, and our miscellaneous, which is our other businesses, was $209,000 for the total of $340,308. We're still tracking at that same percentage that we've been pretty much all year, that we've been going up and down. We're at 65% is for other business, 16% is for food and beverage, and 19% for lodging. Yes, sir.
A lot of that 65% or a good portion, I should say, is probably from mail order stuff, isn't it?
Actually, no.
No?
If you look on the next few pages, you'll see kind of the breakdown. And I think the next big category is it's going to be retail, your retail shops.
Uh-huh.
General merchandise stores was $23,000, which is on page 9.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So I think retail. Because I did kind of pull this around and look at it at different ways, and I do believe other general merchandise store at $23,000 was the next level. Then beer and wine is after that at $19,000. So, yes, sir.
Michael, is that direct selling establishments? Is that your mail order stuff?
Which one?
It would be 4543 direct selling establishments.
What was your question?
Direct selling establishments.
Yes, would that be your mail order merchandise?
think that'd be
People order that stuff in, huh?
4541.
Yeah, 4541 is electronic shopping and mail order houses.
Okay, then what's direct selling establishments then?
Honestly, I don't know, and Ida's not here. But I'll get that looked up and see, because I'm not sure what that is.
And warehouse clubs and super
Yeah.
centers. That should be mail order. We don't have any warehouse clubs here or super centers. So.
Yeah, it's the same thing. People
Yeah.
call Sam's and, you get it delivered over
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
But just saying,
Yeah,
it looks as though.
all three of those fall into that for sure.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm glad we got it.
Okay, so on page 13, or should be the next page, it's going to say 36 of 41. The girls got this one out of line, so I had them just go ahead and move it up here so that we could see it. It's going to be your revenue and expenditures report summary, and this shows our revenue and expenses that we have coming in and out. So through 2024, our total revenue through the end of June 30th should be 49.73% of our fiscal year completed, so about half our fiscal year completed. Our total revenue so far is $5,095,000. Our expenditures are $6.2 million for a net difference of a little over $1 million, $1.1 million. When you go down through here, you'll see in our general fund, the first part, we have $2.5 million and $2.7 million in expenditures. So we're $256,000 shy there. Our street fund is $87,000 in the deficit. LAFI is pretty even. General fund capital, that's where we pulled money out to pay some capital expenditures. Debt service, that's the money that's being collected for the bond payment. Capital project funds, we haven't done any of those. And then the others are, you get down to the water account. The water is the main one. Our water sewer in the water department is down $348,000. And our sewer is down $427,709. The total is $776,785. If you keep going down, you'll see capital infusion. And what this means is in the general fund, our beginning balance of the general fund was $835,000. We used $155,000 of that for some capital purchases. General fund capital, we used $197,000 for some capital purchases. And then in the water sewer fund, we have loaned it $38,000. I'm sorry, they pulled $38,000 from their original balance, $433,000 from I&I reserves, and then a little bit farther down, you'll see loan to water and sewer of $260,000. So the capital infusions that we have put in total $1.1 million. So we're at kind of an even keel right now, as far as we have covered all of the losses that we have had, mainly in the water sewer department, with our capital infusions. So,
Cool.
and the next.
Does the I&I got a running balance now of only like 100,000?
Yes. It's about 85,000.
So we're getting skimpy.
Well, yeah, and when we get over into looking at the budget, the mid-year budget adjustments, I have a little bit more detail on that. So I'll kind of show you
I'll hold up.
overall and give you a little bit more information there. So then the next few pages are the detail on that, just the backdrop, if there's any detail you want to look at. That goes through page 35. Okay. Then on page 37, this is our capital expenditures of what we have spent, what we had approved and what we've spent so far. Gary has ordered some of his turnout gear. He's received some of it, not all of it. He does expect to have all of it by the end of the year. So we'll end up finishing filling that out. The AEDs, we've bought all of those. And the ambulance cots, we bought those. And I believe he said he does have the gas-powered vents now. They just haven't installed them. So he's going to give me an invoice on that. On the police, on the body cams and dash cams, we have, and that is so far how we are on the packet. There's about $26,000 left, and that's going to come in on the budget adjustments that I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit. Building, we purchased the truck. Streets, we purchased half of the flushing trailer. Then we're still going to try to purchase a truck for the streets, and Simon is still going to order the backhoe for the streets. We do have a surplus in the streets fund, so that's not going to affect us too bad, so we'll go over that in a minute. Water and sewer, we did the half of the flushing trailer, we paid for that. We are going to remove the work truck. We're not going to purchase that this year. We're going to take that off with the mid-year adjustment. And then transit, he's purchased a good portion of his. And I'm pretty sure the sliding doors are in. I think he's got those completed. We just haven't got the invoice for it yet. So we get his invoices as they come in. So that's kind of where we're at on our capital expenditures. Next page is your comparative bank balances. You'll see we ended the month of June with $5.9 million in the bank. Just kind of for your reference, you'll see we ended December of 23 with $7.1 million, almost $7.2 million. That's that infusion of capital that we put in that we've talked about on the revenue and expenditures report. And Terry, like you were saying, I started out with $520,000. Now at the end of June, we were down to $87,000. Next page is just the bank balance in comparison over 2023. Just to kind of show you the trends. Next page, 40, this is our long-term liabilities investments. No real change on this one. Our next payment on the bond will be on October 1st, so we don't really have anything up until then. All of our investments are locked in for another year, so they won't be coming due until first quarter of 25. The last page is just the water purchases to show you. We did this to try to see if our leak, fixing our leaks was helping us to purchase less water for the same period as we purchased last year, thinking that in consideration we'd have the same amount of traffic. We went down in water consumption for April that we purchased in May. Water went down for May that we purchased in June. And it does continue to go down for water for June purchased in July and July purchased for August. So we do have negatives in those. So it is continuing to go down based upon the water consumption for those months that we purchased. So, does anybody have any questions on that part?
On the page 39, why is the bank balances lower?
The bank balances are lower because of the infusion of capital that we've had to take out of our reserve accounts and put into the actual pay for things. That if you go back to page, the one that was kind of out of place, but it was 36.
I don't have page
Okay.
36.
37.
Let's see. You don't have this page?
35,
Nope.
Nope.
36,
Got
yeah,
skipped.
36 skipped.
Well, it should be up in the front. It should be right before 14.
Could be.
You'll look right before 14. Between 13 and 14. It's 13 and a
Oh,
half,
yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, she was supposed to put it there, and whenever she put the packet together, she put it way back there, and then we noticed it after she'd printed all the packages. So I just put it to her to stick it up there, and we'd explain. But if you'll look at that down at the bottom, you'll see that's our infusion of capital of what we've had to put in out of various accounts. Totals down at the bottom about $1.1 million. So that's money that we've had to pull out of our funds, and so that's the difference in the bank balances.
Is that unusual?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've had to pull a lot of money out for the water repairs that we've had to do. So we've just had a lot of expenses. The rest of the, as you can kind of see at the top portion of that, we do have a few departments that are, you know, they're still in the red, but they get better as we go along because some of those departments we pay for things up front and then the income comes in through the entire year. So we do see those getting better over time. Streets gets really better, a lot better this month because we got a huge influx of cash there in August. So it gets a lot better. So some of those do get better over time. The water is just the issue right now that's kind of taking our capital.
Well, we put a lot of money in fixing
Yes.
water leaks and that, and it shows it in the water usage. So,
Yes.
yeah, we're just catching up.
Yeah, well, we've had the water leaks has been a big thing. The antennas, putting the antennas on and paying for them is a big thing. You know, we've had a lot of big expenditures, the lift stations that we've replaced, those kind of things. So we've had a lot of expenditures there. Yes, Ms. Autumn?
I am wondering about the capital expenditure page,
Yep.
the transit portion.
Uh-huh.
Which page?
I have 36. The capital expenditure page.
Yep.
I'm just kind of wondering, tell me what he's covering. Is he covering the location on 62, the one downtown, Plainer Hill,
Yes.
the three?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he covers all three of those. And a lot of these, if you will see, his capital expenditures, almost 100% are reimbursed by Fed. So if you look within his department, it looks like he has a whole bunch of capital
Yeah, he has a lot.
expenditures. But I think almost 100% of them are reimbursed by the Fed.
Okay.
So a lot of these, we have to purchase them, pay for them, and then we get the
You get your
money
funds
back from
back.
them. So
Okay.
he kind of gets a budget from them for what he can do, and then he looks at what he needs to repair, what he needs to replace. Like coming up for next year, I think he had originally planned to replace 2 trolleys, and that was what he had talked to them about. But the price of the trolleys is coming in so high. They've gone up so much that they're probably only going to give us funding for 1. So we may only just be able to replace 1 trolley. But a lot of his things that he replaces are federally funded, and, you know, there's stipulations with them, like on the vehicles, we have to keep them for a certain period of time, and then if we sell them, we have to give some of that money back to them. That kind, kind of thing.
Refund? Okay.
Yeah. Or we can trade it to departments, because he had a truck we were going to sell this year. We would have had to send the money back, but instead we moved it over to the water department
Okay.
to do some of their stuff in. So,
Okay.
yeah, but most of his stuff is repairs that he can do.
Yeah, does he do the trolley repair, truck repair?
All of that
all
is
of it?
under that is under
Okay.
repairs, and he gets a lot of federal funds for that also.
Okay, but he does that in-house?
Some of it, yes, they do. That's kind of what this, the heavy-duty post lift.
Yeah.
That's a lift that's supposed to be able to lift one of the trolleys up so they can actually work on it.
And welding?
I don't know about welding. That I don't
I'm just
know.
curious.
We'd have to ask him about that.
Okay.
I know they have the big
The
work.
welding machine?
Yeah, I was just. what
Well,
are
they do a lot
welding?
of welding up there
yeah.
because of frames and different,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's a
Yeah, they're
transit.
doing all their repairs, yeah.
And like the automatic sliding doors, I know that's for downtown. That's for the
Okay.
station that's downtown. The doors weren't working. That's why it was closed so often last year, was
Oh,
because
no.
the doors weren't working and they wouldn't open and close. So he'd just have to close. So he had the doors complete. They gave him the funding to have the doors completely replaced. They worked, they came out, I know in 23, they came out and worked on them several times. They couldn't get them working right. So he just had them replaced as part of his 24 budget. So I know what that's the $65,000 for that. The AC refrigerant recharging system, that's to recharge the air conditioning conditions in the trolleys, because that's one of the things that he's talking about on the price of the trolleys going up so high is they've something about the air conditioners are going out too fast in them because you run them so often
Yeah.
and they're not equipped to run at the speed that what they need them to run at. So they've had to upgrade that quite extensively, and that has thrown the price of the trolleys up. So I know that that is for that. And a lot of the diagnostic tools, that's for where they work on them.
Just those repairs. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions on that? Okay, so now we're going to move on. This is going to be, what I'm going to give you tonight is our 2024 mid-year budget adjustments. Should be about 20-something pages long. I think it's 24 pages long. What we have done is I've gone through this myself. I've gone through it with all the department heads, and I've gone through it with the mayor. And these are some adjustments that we have made to finish out the year on items that where we felt like we had projected too high on income and it's not coming in, or we projected too low on expenses or projected too high on expenses, or in our legislative audit, they asked us to move things around to where they were in different categories. We're cleaning some of that up. So a couple of the things that I wanted to point out to you, and then I know you probably don't have any questions because you may when we're looking at it, but we may not have any. And then next session, you'll have a couple of weeks to look at this. You can email me any questions or call me with any questions. And then in 2 weeks, we'll go over it again and see what questions y'all have. Just kind of right off the bat, you'll see on the very first page, 01004031 sales tax operating. We didn't really do anything with that number. We just kind of combined two accounts because of the way the auditors ask us to report the sales tax. So that number, the 2.4 million, was already on there. It was just in two different categories, and now it's in one category. So there's no real change to that. And you'll see on the second page, 01004115, you'll see the offset of that combines those two together. So it's just that's more of a posting adjustment than a change in the numbers. Also in the parking revenue, we went through and really drilled down on this to get that of what that represents. The parking revenue 4111 is the actual passport, and then the parking revenue meters is the actual ones that actually have change that they actually make deposits off of. So we kind of got those cleaned up a little bit. 4131, you'll see we lowered that down because we're no longer selling we're selling them, but not as much as we were. We lowered them due to no longer selling the yellow bags. 4507, the Black Bass Dam and the roundabout, neither one of those look like they're going to happen in 24, so we removed them completely from the budget for 24, and we'll reassess those and put them back into 2025's budget. So that's why we took that out.
Where is that at?
Excuse me, on page 2.
I don't think, what was the number?
Page 2, 01004507. You'll see it, we took the 250,000 out.
What's the projections on those two projects?
What's projections on those two projects? The roundabout is probably, they're still got to go through appraisal for right-of-way and do the right-of-way. That should be finished up hopefully this year. So probably sometime next year, 2025, they'll probably be able to put that out for bids. Black Bass Dam, the money's been allocated, the grants, but I haven't heard about when we'll get it. So I don't and I've asked several times, Congressman Womack's office, and haven't gotten any response back for exact deadlines. It's up to, the Senate and House of Representatives and their budgets on how that works.
So maybe never.
Well, I noticed that Congressman Womack and the other congressman for Arkansas have put in for earmarks for our state. So if they're ready for their earmarks, it's kind of unusual for Republicans to do earmarks. But if they bring us some money,
But we're going to get it, just a matter of when.
I don't see the roundabout money here. We didn't.
We're not there yet. Hang on.
All right.
Hang with me. Okay, so on page 3, if you about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see 01005728 cemetery wages. That's just a move where we move them to their own department, to Department 50. So we took them out of 01. So that didn't change. It's just a move. So we reduced how much we're buying on the recycling trash bags. So we reduced that down. Then on the next page, now this does include some new things. So on page 4, under the mayor's office, under the salaries and wages, we do have an increase there. He had a little bit of a surplus in his salaries and wages, and what we have done is we have factored in adding a new position into his department of a gardener for the city to take care of the entrance of Plainer Hill, to take care of flowers, to take care of the courthouse, to take care of weeding up and down Plainer Hill, to take care of anything around the city that's not actually in a park, that the parks take care of, to bring our city back to what it has been in the past. And so what we looked at was a 40-hour-a-week position of $15 an hour, and that's what that would include. So that's the increase that we're asking for, and in the mayor's department. And you'll see that affects all the things as far as benefits and stuff. Yes, sir.
So you're going to have to provide that person a vehicle too?
I don't know. Probably, maybe. We'll see.
$15 an hour, I would imagine.
Yeah. So probably. We've got a Bronco. They can have the Bronco that we're not using. So, yeah. So in the finance department, there are just more cleanups there. Then in page 5 of 24, you're going to see that there's an increase there in the salaries and wages of the police department. The chief has asked for a $1 an hour raise for just the patrol officers, so that we can stay competitive with other cities who are starting out their patrol officers at a higher amount than what we're paying.
What are we paying?
$20 an hour.
Berryville's paying $3 an hour more than we are.
Yep. So
That's your closest.
this isn't an across the board for everybody at the police station. It's just for the actual patrol officers, that block that we consider that needs to be raised up. So that's going to equate to a little bit more in taxes, retirement, and law fee, that kind of stuff. He did reduce some of his categories that he was able to reduce, so to try to offset some of his changes. Nothing really on municipal court. They didn't have any major changes. Fire and EMS, his changes are just basically adjustments based upon where his salaries are coming in at, where his taxes and everything are coming in at, his law fee. We recalculated all of that. That's no raises or anything. It's just a recalculation to where we had not estimated that correctly. The building department is the next page, page 8. Okay, so we've done some changes there. We have moved the building department up to the Public Works building. We have taken what was previously Simon's office. Simon has moved his office down to the new Public Works building. We purchased desk cubes, things, and we busted up Simon's office and made it into 3 offices. And so now Jess, who was was helping Jacob, she is up there full-time now to help the new building inspector. The new building inspector is up there, and then we also have the people who are taking our billing payments and doing our utility billing. And so we are moving. I was paying Jess's salary because she was underneath me being at the front desk, and so we have moved Jess completely into the building department. So that's some of the adjustments there. And then as far as the IT equipment, we had to purchase 2 new computers. I ordered those last week, and so we had to add to the IT budget for them. But this is going to put them up there. It looks really great. We have a new desk for them, new partitions to, segregate them off, some new office chairs and things to make it look really nice. This is going to put Paul and Jess right there next to each other so that they can work good together. It'll be a place where people can go in, sit down, talk. He has a drafting table where he can lay his plans out, and they can also take the payments there for any of the licenses or whatever that they need to purchase.
This is at the building, at Public Works?
Yes, the main building.
Is that why Simon's lost so much weight, to make
Yes.
room for all those people?
Yes, he's been carrying everything up and down the hills. So, yep. So, not much, not really anything in the city clerk. She just kind of moved a couple of things around. Planning. So previously in the planning, at the end of the year last year, Kyle was out. And so we weren't sure if we were going to have to hire somebody part-time or not until Kyle returned. So we had bumped the salary up to facilitate being able to hire that part-time person. We never had to do that. So we're making an adjustment to the salary to pull it back down to what the salary for the planning officer is. So that's the big salary adjustment there, yes.
So, and he is no longer
Yes,
an
he left
employee
Friday
of
was
the
his
city.
last day, yeah.
So, I suppose we're looking for somebody else.
Yes, the mayor had an interview today, and I believe he has one tomorrow. Yeah. We're on that,
Thank you.
okay? The next thing on Department 50, you'll just see that that's kind of a new budget. It's just the movement of the money from where we had it previously to show it as a line item here. Okay. Page 10. This is, I was talking about this earlier in the street department. If you'll see under 10-00-4503 grant state aid, you'll see we're changing it from 80,000 to 325,000. That's because we're receiving the payments for the TAP grant from 2023 that we expended in 2023, and they're just now giving us our money back. So we've received about 200,000. We have one payment left that's going to be about another $65,000. So we increased that up.
That's the sidewalk money?
Yep, that's the sidewalk that's already built.
Maybe I'll get to walk on it someday.
Yep. So,
The non-departmental, what are the salaries for? Who does that cover?
for what page?
10.
What was your question? Autumn, what was your question?
Hey, okay.
What are the salaries on the non-departmental for?
Okay, so if you'll look up at the top, that's Fund 10 for street. And so Department 00 is OO is non-departmental, meaning it's not assigning it to a different department. It's remained in street.
Still street,
So
okay.
that's the salaries for the street department.
I got you. Okay. Thank you.
And another thing to keep in mind when you're looking at this, and I always just like to tell y'all this, Last four digits, if it starts with a 4, that's revenue. If it starts with a 5, that's expenditures. So if you happen to look at a number and you're, can't remember what it is, 4s, there's money coming in, 5s, money's going out. LAFI, there's no big change there. Let's see. Okay, page 13. All right, so in doing the project of the body cams and the dashboard cams, the money that Billy has left is about a little about over $26,000. That $26,000, what it's budgeted in there for is computer upgrade as far as his server goes. So we talked to Pinnacle about this. I have had a couple of meetings with them, and I have had them come in and look at our system at City Hall because we are starting to reach the end of our server capacity. We don't have any capacity. We're running out of capacity on it. And so one of the things that when we started with Pinnacle was we looked at bringing more and more departments on so that we could get a consistency between the city of all the departments using the same IT. So to do that, they are proposing he's made a proposal to me. We need to upgrade the server at City Hall. We need to, and we need some additional equipment to go along with that server, some backup equipment, some storage, some things like that. We need to upgrade the server at the police department. And then there's a few little things they need to do at Public Works. And then they would also do the same thing to bring fire on and transit on. So then we would be all within the same system. That project is going to cost about $80,000. About $26,000 of that is already budgeted for in the police department. The rest of it, we have not budgeted it for.
You say 8 or 80?
80,000, yeah. It's about 40,000, a little over 40,000 for City Hall, 26,005 for police, 4,500 for Public Works, 4,500 for fire, and 4,500 for transit. 26.5 of that's already budgeted in capital expenditures. The rest of it is items that hasn't been budgeted, and so that's one of the things that I'm asking for in these budget adjustments is to approve that money to upgrade our computer systems. This is something that we really need to do, and we also, from a legislative audit standpoint, we need to bring everybody in under the umbrella because right now we're not the same backups that I have, transit doesn't have, police doesn't have, fire doesn't have. So we're trying to bring it all into one system managed by one company so that we have everything, they can take care of everything for us. Some of our departments right now are kind of pieced together by, they knew this person that could run this computer system and they've got it, but then whenever anything goes wrong with it, that person doesn't live here anymore and they don't know how to fix it, and then we have to go back and do it anyway. That's one of the reasons why police is being updated as it is. And so I just kind of talked to him and said, well, if you're going to do it all now, or if you're going to do this much of it now, why don't we do all of it? And
So is what you're needing is all reflected in here?
Yes. It's all reflected within this budget. So what you'll see is like for this capital expenditure, finance department, I added 40,500, which wasn't there previously. Police, I didn't have to increase his. I increased his by $2,600, so it'll encompass that. Fire and EMS, I increased it by 4,500. Building, I didn't have to increase it. And then Public Works is under Public Works, and then transit is underneath his. So this part of it just covers us, the City Hall, police, and fire. So it's an $80,000 increase overall for these items. And if you want to, I can bring the schematic that he gave me of exactly what the equipment that's going to come with it and everything, if y'all want to look at that, if you'd like to see what it includes.
Oh, we'll all understand it.
Exactly, that's... And you will understand it so much better when I explain it to you, because I'm just like, okay, yeah, if I turn on the button, does it work? And that's what I need. So... let's see.
I personally am thrilled that that's happening.
I think it's a
It-
really good move for us.
Yeah.
I really do. And it's a long-term range plan that had started, Lonnie started a while back, and this is just continuing on with it. And I think it'll be very beneficial to us. Pinnacle has been a great ally of ours. He was starting his business and we were one of his first cities. So even though he's moved on to a lot larger and bigger cities, he takes really good care of us because we were his first. And so he wants to make sure that we succeed. So if we have an issue, I call him and he comes up here from Little Rock and he owns the company and he comes all the way up here just to sit and talk. And so I really think this is a good move. It was something that he suggested parts of it, then I suggested more parts of it, and this is kind of where we ended up. But like I said, I can give you the details of what all the equipment is and everything. On page 15, this is, Harry, back to your question earlier, this is where I removed the Black Bass Dam and the roundabout from the budget.
I see.
And just zeroed those out. So that leaves us with no capital project funded for 2024. Admin of Justice, we didn't make really any huge changes there, just changed some of our revenue. Court automation, no real huge changes. Fireman's pension, no real huge changes. And then we get to 19, which is the water and sewer. So what we did with water and sewer is kind of, if you'll just look ahead to page 21, if you'll look down at the bottom, you'll see water and sewer. It shows a positive revenue of $177. What I kind of did was I took what revenue we were expecting, what expenses that we had, and then what amounts of money we've been giving to water and sewer just to make it break even. So if you see over on the right on page 19 where it says beginning balance, the $128,000 was what water and sewer had at the beginning of the year. The I&I was $520,000, and so far we have loaned the water department $461,000 out of city funds. So that's a total of $1.1 million. So if you look at 80-21-40 and 80-22-40, those total up to $1,024,027. What that's showing is the cash that we have had to put in outside of the operations of the water department to cover the expenses of the water department. So that's kind of where we're at on that.
When are we going to go over the water analysis?
The water rate study?
Yes.
Yes, Simon can be able to give you more information on that, but that is almost completed as far as I know.
Okay.
So we're really close to having that completed.
Okay.
So he hasn't asked for
curious.
anything really in the last couple of weeks. So I think we're really close to the end of that.
Thank you.
So
Now, the loan to water sewer, are we waiting for money to come into water sewer to balance that out, or?
sure, that's the theory.
Hopefully.
For keeping up with a spreadsheet of the last several years and how much money the general fund has had to pay to water, the theory would be that once water gets self-sufficient and is making at least some money, then it can pay the city back those funds that we have loaned to it. But
They're just so far from self-sufficient, but
Yeah.
I wonder
Yes.
how our rate study is going to help that, I hope.
yes, that'll help that quite a bit. Then starting on 22, you have transit. His is a lot, just Spendy does a real good job of moving things around, just where he sees that one's lower, one's higher. He kind of moves a lot of his money around. And then overall on page 24, when you get to the bottom line, originally we had shown that we were going to have a net revenue of $430,000. With all of the adjustments, the additions, and the capital infusions, we're now showing that it's $376,000, which is $53,000 less than what we had originally shown. So I know y'all will have tons of questions. And so, like I said, feel free to call me, email me, or whatever your questions are, Terry.
So we can kind of digest this a little bit. Can we the first meeting in next month,
Yeah.
meet early. Is that all
Up
right?
to count. Would you all like to have another workshop prior to the next meeting to go over this mid-year budget? Okay, same time, 5:15? All right, we'll do it 5:15.
Mayor, I do have a quick question or suggestion. So in light of the petition that now has enough signatures to be placed on the ballot for November, has the Finance Department taken into account the loss of revenue if this should pass?
Not in this budget, because this budget is considering throughout the end of the year. And so this is what we need to be able to operate through the end of the year. If the petition goes on the ballot and it does vote and is voted down, that tax will still be collected through the end of the year. And it would be take effective as of January 1st, is my understanding. So we will make a judgment, we will make adjustments looking at our 25 budget.
And does the Finance Department have the capabilities of drawing down what happens to every single, I want to say department, but every single person if this should pass? Loss of revenue, loss of, well, all of it.
That would be hard for us to divulge down on that, because we would have to go back to a situation where we didn't have the tax, we didn't have the, I mean, it's hard to say what the traffic will be, you know.
Let's go ahead. Right now, we're at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Everybody agrees, which is have a meeting at 5:15, the next council meeting, to go over the mid-year budget
Okay.
adjustment. And then we'll put it on the agenda for discussion at our regular meeting following.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Michael. If y'all have any questions or anything while you're looking over this, don't hesitate to holler at me, or Michael, either one. Michael's probably going to be able to answer the question better. All right. All right, with that being said, it is time for us to have our bi-monthly meeting for City Council for Monday, August 26th, if we can get a...
Hang on, Butch.
Oh.
He's not ready.
Not ready yet.